everybody. Welcome to the Tendo Show. We're back again. We are back again. I said Mondays and Fridays, but then, I think to myself, so much news has come out on this Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm going to wait till Friday to talk about it. Not a chance. Not a chance. So, new plan. I'm just going to do it whenever it needs to be, because I think, for F1, darts, combat sports, professional wrestling, I think there's been a good amount of things to come. Maybe it's a bit of a busy start to the week when it comes to news in those types of sports. Maybe it's obviously when we watch multiple sports, there's going to be news all over the place. But especially with NXT that happened last night, I was going to do a video just on NXT, but I thought, why would I do a video just on NXT when there's also other stuff to talk about? Basically, Mondays and Fridays isn't frequent enough. It's not frequent enough. So, we're just going to do them just whenever feels best, whenever there's enough to talk about. So, tonight I said in the last show, there's no F1 to really talk about. I think the most interesting thing tonight that I'm going to talk about is F1. We've got F1. Obviously, we've got the PDC. That'll be pretty much on every episode. Tom Aspinall is getting pretty. He said he's going to be the bad guy, and he's living up to it. There's also boxing, pro wrestling. Of course, NXT happened last night. And yeah, so let's start off. Where's the F1 notes? Hey, hold on. Where's the F1 notes? Let's start off with the F1 because they've come out with the F1 car. What's new about it? And also, Kimi Antonelli's been spotted randomly in Milton Keynes. He's been spotted randomly in Milton Keynes for some reason. But the 2026 F1 car has been shown, and there's obviously visual looks. It's smaller, for example. We all like that because the cars recently have just been they've been too big. I mean, you watch them in Monaco, right? You watch these cars going around in Monaco, and there's no room. There's absolutely no room to race because they're huge. How can you get past? It's literally a wall. So it looks nice because it's smaller. It reminds you of back in early 2000s days where they were just so smaller. They're like little go-karts. So yeah, but other than it looking nice, I looked into what is actually different and what they've done. So for example, we heard about them doing active aerodynamics, a year or two ago. And that's going to be part of this car. And basically what it is movable. The rear wing and the front wing in particular, the driver can move it. They can dictate how much drag they want, how much downforce, and also how much top speed. So obviously when they're on the straight, it's kind of like DRS by the sounds of it, but also for the front and rear wing, but not DRS somehow. And they can basically adjust how much downforce they've got. So obviously when they're on a main straight, they can reduce downforce, so they've got maximum frontline speed. And then obviously when they're in fast corners or maybe a heavy braking zone, they can put the wing flaps up to give them more downforce. They've also strengthened the cars, which is great for everyone, right? It's a very dangerous sport. I'm all for them strengthening the cars, making them safer. They've also got safety lights on the mirror. I didn't find anywhere what that means, but they've got safety lights. Great. They've also, I thought this was pretty good, they've removed all the ground effect tunnels. So, I mean, the past since 2022, so the past 4 years, it's been the ground effect era. It's been Verstappen's era. Verstappen dominated the ground effect era. It's no more. It's no more now. They've removed the ground effect tunnels, and now it's much flatter undercarriage of the car. Underneath the car is much flatter, less detail, and an extended diffuser. Also, they've got advanced sustainable fuel for the car for lower emissions. However, and I'm glad they made sure to clarify this, there'll be no impact on performance. The fuel just emits, less fumes or whatever. It helps the environment. Net zero by 2030, as F1 say they want to do. But no effect on the performance. So the cars will still go just as fast as if it was normal fuel by the sounds of it. And there's also a boost. So there's a max. They've got a different boost system. A max power on demand at any time across the lap. Now I wonder, do they still obviously then have a cap for how much they can deploy and how much they can save, or is it just willing? Actually, I don't know why I'm asking that, as if I haven't got the notes right in front of me. Right, the boost is basically the new DRS. ERS is now no longer something you can deploy, by the sounds of it, no longer you can deploy willy-nilly. Well, overtake mode in particular, you have to be within 1 second. That's why I say it's the new DRS. Obviously, DRS is gone now. To activate DRS, you have to be 1 second in front of the car ahead, within. Overtake mode can now only be used next season when you're within 1 second of the car ahead. So it's out with DRS, but we've still got kind of a substitute where ERS, well, overtake mode, can only be used when you're in 1 second of the car ahead. And also, finally, the little arches over the tyres, how you have the tyres, obviously, that's what they need. The arches over them, they're gone. So no more arches over the tyres to save weight. And yeah, that's everything important about the change to the car. I think I also heard that the front wing is like 100 millimeters narrower. But I said at the start, the cars are smaller. So yeah, that is what's changed with the 2026 car. That's what we can expect to see from them. They'll look nicer, they'll look smaller, they look more raceable. I think that's the right word to say, raceable. There's more room to move around. They're not going through the streets of Monaco and you can't even see past the thing, all right? That's a new car. Next F1 story, last F1 story of the night, Kimi Antonelli going incognito at go-karting. So at Daytona and Milton Keynes on Saturday, Kimi Antonelli went around the track. He went to race go-karts. He went under the name of Henry Chauvelin. So that was his fake name he used so that no one would know who he is. He arrived with his helmet on, or I think anyway. No one saw him without his helmet off until after the race, and then they just started hoarding him, asking for pictures and stuff. And some key things from what happened that day. He got the fastest lap by 3 seconds. The fast lap by 3 seconds. You know, I don't even know why am I even surprised at that? He's an F1 driver. Of course he's going to get that's expected. Why am I surprised at that? That's expected. He's an F1 driver. He gets the fast lap. You'd expect it to be by 3 seconds. Jesus. Why am I surprised at that? However, what I found absolutely hilarious was, because he didn't win, which is also shocking. He got the fastest lap by 3 seconds, but didn't win. I'll tell you why he didn't win. He got 2 penalties. He got 2 penalties for pushing too hard. He was going too fast. He was bullying everyone else out on track so much. They were like, right, mate, you're getting a penalty because you're too good. You're pushing too hard. These guys can't compete. So, unfortunately, you can't win because we're giving you penalties. And then, as I said, he was flocked by a mob of people after they found out who he was. And, yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. If you go on BBC, it's not even a BBC Sport news article. It's just BBC News. So it's not just newsworthy in terms of just sport. It's news for everyone, not just F1 fans. It's news for everyone. And then also there was some notable other drivers that have been. So this seems like quite a popular place for drivers to be because obviously Alexander Albon's been there, Isaac Hadjar's been there, Yuki Tsunoda's been there in the past. It's really close to Silverstone, so it's a popular place for drivers to be. And who knows, maybe we'll see some other fake names arriving on the track, some other people breaking lap records, some other people getting penalties for going too hard. And then that is a sign that we've got more F1 drivers coming to that circuit. But yeah, I thought that was pretty funny, to be honest, especially the fact that he got penalties for being too good. That was brilliant. But yeah, that was the F1 PDC. Right, so the darts. It is Wednesday. So, but I didn't talk about, obviously, because I said it was Monday and Friday. So I didn't talk about the Tuesday's session. But just a quick rundown of what happened Tuesday afternoon session. So we had Alan Sutar beat Harju 3-2. We had Justin Hood get 3-0 against Kenny. Scott Williams 3-0 against Paolo Nebrida. You know, to be fair, I thought that would have been a much closer match because Paolo Nebrida's nothing. He's not some easy night out. He's beatable very, very much so, especially by someone the caliber of Scott Williams. You still expect Scott Williams to win, but Paolo Nebrida, he's good. And I was a little bit surprised that he got whitewashed. But yeah, Scott Williams beat Paolo Nebrida 3-0. And then Chris Dobie 3-1 against Zong. As you'd expect. If anything, that's the one we'd expect to be 3-0. But 3-1 nonetheless. Fair play to him. Then in the evening session, Ricardo Petrezco beat Jose de Souza 3-1. Danny Noppert beat, what's his name, Julian van der Velde, or something Gerda van der Velde. Really funny guy, to be fair. He came to the match with bug spray. The Ali Pali Wasp was not safe during that match. He came with he has his darts, his water. Right there, he has his wasp spray with him. He actually sprayed it during the match as well to get the Ali Pali Wasp away from him. He's a really funny guy. He played Luke Humphreys at the Grand Slam, right? It was the Grand Slam, not the Grand Prix. Was it Grand? No, it wasn't the Grand Prix. Yeah, the Grand Slam. Played against Luke Humphreys at the Grand Slam. Obviously got slaughtered, but he kind of knew it. He kind of knew he stood no chance, but he just had fun. He just had fun with it and didn't take it seriously very much. He lost 3-1, so he managed to get a set over Danny Noppert, which I think is pretty promising. This guy's young, early career. He's showing that he's got some potential, and he's a funny guy. Honestly, he's a funny guy. And look, as I said, he got a set over Danny Noppert in the World Championship. Promising. I see it being promising. Gerwyn Price beat Gavlas. Gerwyn Price beat Gavlas 3-0. And Joe Comito upset. Joe Comito beat Nico Springer 3-1. Not even 3-2, last leg, last set shootout, or even a last leg. It's 5-5 legs in 2-2 sets. Then a last leg shootout. No, 3-1 Joe Comito beats Nico Springer. Simply because he was just on it. He was just on it. It was one of those days where he just couldn't miss. Joe Comito 3-1 against Nico Springer. Then, today, Wednesday, there was only an evening session, no afternoon session, only an evening session. Adam Savada 3-1 against Matt Campbell, which isn't what I expected. I thought Matt Campbell would win that one. And then even more so, in another upset. So we had obviously Joe Comito beating Nico Springer 3-1. Another upset, whitewash, Stephen Belmont 3-0 against Raymond van Barneveld. Now, yes, I know Raymond van Barneveld is old. He's no longer the guy we saw in his prime. But I still think he'd at least get a set or two against Stephen Belmont. But no, Stephen Belmont, fair play to him, on the Ali Pali stage, whitewashes former world champion Raymond van Barneveld. Very good, very good. Not what a lot of people would have expected. James Wade beat Ryuze Azkimoto 3-0, as you expect him to. And then Martin Schindler beat Stephen Burton 3-1. Yeah, a good sprinkle of upsets in there, to be fair. As I said, Joe Comito to beat Nico Springer, didn't see that coming. I thought Matt Campbell would win, apparently not. And then Stephen Belmont to whitewash Raymond van Barneveld. Very good by him. And yeah, so far so good. And the matches have been they've been good. They've been good, but I don't really know why I'm going to try and carry on speaking here. That was literally it. And yeah, that was the darts. Now, Tom Aspinall. Now, this guy has actually made my afternoon, really, reading about what he's been doing with Cyril Garn. Tom Aspinall. Cyril Garn's basically put a post on his Instagram of him training with Tai Tuivasa. And in his caption, he put, "Still no date or opponent yet, but we keep grinding and training hard before the holidays with my man, Tai Tuivasa." He posts some photos of him and Tai Tuivasa training. He bigs up Tai Tuivasa, saying he's the man. No date or opponent, but he's still training. Tom Aspinall then goes into the comments, and look, it's about to get good with what he says in the comments, but it's even after that where it gets even better. He goes to the comments, he says, "No shit, there's no date yet. I'm not medically cleared to fight and about to have surgery thanks to your disgusting fingernails. I'll be back to smash your face in soon, you cheat." What is going on? He's going full bad guy. This guy he's actually done a heel turn. We had John Cena go heel this year, which no one expected. Actually, I'm sure some people expected it, to be fair. Tom Aspinall's the number one nice guy. He's turned heel as well. Two of the biggest baby faces in their own sports, and they've turned heel in the same year. What a 2025 we've had. He says he's got disgusting fingernails, burn, based, And then he says he's going to smash your face in soon, you cheat. He calls him a cheat. So he's saying he intentionally poked him in the eye. Now, whether he did or not, I don't know. But, come on, it's not hard to keep your fist closed, is it really? Now, that is in itself great. That's some great content. That's some great entertainment in the MMA world. That is brilliant. That's what we want to see. That's the trash talk we want to see from these guys. But it gets even better because I'm reading about all this stuff and I'm like, okay, let's make sure we know where we're getting from. You know, maybe it was posted on Twitter or I don't think God's gonna have Facebook for crying out loud. It was posted on Instagram. It was enough BS. It was posted on Instagram. I went myself to look on his Instagram post, word for word. That's what he said in his description. I go to the comments to find Tom Aspinall's reply. Where's his reply? His comment is gone from Cyril Gane's comment section. Now, I looked throughout the other comments. People are saying Cyril Gane hid his comment. Cyril Gane deleted his comment. Maybe Tom Aspinall deleted his comment. To be honest, I don't see why Tom Aspinall would delete his comment. I don't think Tom Aspinall did delete his comment. I'm pretty certain Gane probably deleted his comment for him. And that's kind of crazy too. Gane, look, either way, if Aspinall deleted it, he might have felt ashamed, or maybe that's a bit too far. If Gane deleted it, that's probably pissed Gane off a bit, and he wanted to get rid of Tom's comment because he wasn't very happy with it and was pretty disrespected by it. You can get it. And then also, you look through these comments as well, it's all Tom Aspinall supporters. All these guys are absolutely eating it up. They're showing GIFs, they're showing pictures of Tom Aspinall with the belt, they're showing GIFs of people poking each other in the eyes. Cyril Gane's whole comment section is just flooded by Tom Aspinall fans, gassing up Tom Aspinall and saying that you are a cheat. Saying that Cyril Gane, you are a cheat. That's not me saying that, that's them saying that. Cyril Gane, you are a cheat. And they're also the ones accusing Cyril Gane of removing Tom Aspinall's comment. When this fight gets rebooked, oh my lord, the beef, you know what, I'm not even going to say I hope, it will be. The beef, the trash talk, it'll all be there. It'll all be there. We saw last year Tom Aspinall be involved with the scuffle between Leon Edwards and Bilal Muhammad. It's going to be the reverse. Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane are going to be having a scuffle in the elevator, and Cyril Gane and Leon Edwards are going to be like, what's just happened? What's just happened there? Headshot dead. He's going to be the one clueless. So yeah, incredible beef, and thank you to Tom, I guess, because now we've actually getting a bit of rivalry and a bit of animosity in the heavyweight division. And then, so yeah, and I thought that was absolutely hilarious too. But yeah, that is the Tom Aspinall side of today's news. Let's move to the boxing. The boxing. Now, I'm sure you all know, if anything, I'm probably one of the latest people to talk about it. Terence Crawford has retired from boxing. And again, I saw in his post saying, officially saying that he's retiring. Actually, no, it wasn't in his post. It was maybe by DAZN on their Instagram. And they were saying, and they made a post instigating comments. They said, describe Terence Crawford in one word. And the amount of hate this guy, yes, I saw a couple goats in there, but the amount of hate this guy got. I saw overrated. I saw, fights once every other year. I saw, what else did I see? Overrated fights once every other year. Average, boring. Just horrible stuff. Horrible stuff. So apparently this guy is absolutely hated and people think he's boring. But look, he went 42-0-0 with 31 KOs. Started as a pro in 2008. 3-division undisputed champion, right? On his Instagram, he says he's walking away as a great with nothing else left to prove. #Crawford era. I can't blame the guy, to be fair. I'm not super versed in the boxing world. I've got mates who know way more about boxing than me. But on paper, and from what I do know, he is incredible. He is one of the GOATs in boxing. And there is nothing left for him. There really is nothing. Canelo was like that final level. And he absolutely destroyed it. So you know what? Fair play to him for retiring. Whether he was boring, whether he was overrated, whether he was bland or whatever, boring to watch, I don't know. Look, he's a great. And he deserves to retire if he wants to. 42 wins, 31 knockouts, starting 2008. He's been doing this for 17 years. So, you know what a career to Terence Crawford. Fair play to him. Don't blame him. He's got a lot of money in the bag. So, who can blame him? I want to talk about a bit about Jake Paul and Joshua. There's not really much to talk about. Call me unprofessional. I haven't watched the press conference between them yet. I'm still yet to watch it. I will watch their press conference. But look, what I did get from it was that Jake Paul is really, 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 really confident that he's going to beat Anthony Joshua. He said, I'm going to pull off one of the biggest upsets in history. And look, I think he's deadly serious. I feel like Jake Paul especially, I think, is very honest. He's very honest when he knows he's in a tough fight. He's not going to be the kind of guy to say, I'm going to absolutely run through this guy. This guy's old. This guy's this, that, and the other. He's heavy. He's slow. He's bigger than me. He's very honest. And we always kind of got the vibe that he knew he got why he was underdog, and he knew that he was in for a tough night, and his chances are slim. But he's what did he say? He's delusionally optimistic or something, or he's delusionally ambitious. Something he used a word with the word delusion in, right? He knows he's doing something crazy that he shouldn't actually be able to accomplish, yet he does it. Here, I think he fully believes he's going to win. He it's no longer now, my chances are slim, but I'm going to give it a go. You know, he's the favourite for a reason, but I'm going to try my best to spoil the party. He should win, but I'm going to win. He says I'm going to pull off one of the biggest upsets in history. I believe that he thinks that. And I still think Joshua's going to win, but I reckon Jake Paul will definitely surprise us quite a lot. And then another notable thing, he pulled up to the open workouts in a tank, as Jake Paul does, with the W logo on the side. Well, hate him or love him, right? Hate him or love him. I always say that Jake Paul is no longer a YouTuber. He's a full-time boxer, therefore I think he's a boxer. Jake Paul, to me, is a boxer. He's a YouTuber turned boxer. The fact that he does YouTube part-time and boxing full-time, that makes him a boxer in my eyes. Is he world champion level? No. But I think the amount of disrespect he gets, yes, he didn't have that hard of a path into boxing. So what? So he's amazing for what he should be, a YouTuber, right? I might look stupid here. I wouldn't, if someone said to me in 5 years' time he's got a championship or two, I wouldn't be surprised. I do think Joshua's going to win, and I do think it will be a bit of a piss take for boxing if Joshua were to lose. Not because Jake Paul's bad, but because Anthony Joshua is a professional. When Jake Paul was doing Disney Channel, Anthony Joshua was winning boxing world championships. I'm not raining on Jake Paul's parade or anything, but you can't, for the sport of boxing to not look illegitimate, you can't have a guy who's been training boxing all his life, been in the Olympics, lose to a YouTuber turned boxer. A very good boxer, but still a YouTuber turned boxer. It just, especially when he's a heavyweight. The guy's a heavyweight. He's capped at 245, meaning he's above 245 usually. He's a behemoth. He has to be contained to 245 pounds. If he were to lose, it would be pretty bad for boxing. That's all I'm going to say. Jake Paul is not bad, but Joshua is a heavyweight boxer, champion, with years and years and years of experience. Jake Paul's doing Disney Channel. He was winning championships. It should go to Anthony Joshua. And then finally, NXT, WWE NXT Pro Wrestling. So, NXT happened last night, and to be fair, I don't want to take up, because I watched it and I made a lot of notes on what happened, right? I don't want to take up too much time, because I don't want to go into too much detail about what happened, stuff that you won't care about. But I'll just, I'll run through start to finish what happened on the December 16th edition of Tuesday Night's NXT. The show starts off with Javon Evans. He doesn't want to go inside. He wants to, he said the word lacking, because he's a gangster. He said the word lacking. He said he wants to catch Javon Evans lacking, and he's not going to come inside until he's caught He's not going to come back inside until he's caught Ricky Saints lacking. That's what Javon Evans said. And giving Ava a bit of a hard time, nonetheless. Blake Monroe versus Thea Hale kicks off the show. What was that finish? Excuse me, what was that finish? Was that actually accidental? It looked accidental. Blake Monroe was the women's North American champion. No more, because Thea Hale's won it now. Thea Hale's the new North American champion. From what it looked like a botched finish. It looked like what time am I on as well? 25, I think that says. It looked like a botched finish, to be honest. She goes for a springboard senton. Lands heavy on Blake Monroe as well, to be fair. wouldn't be surprised if she got winded, and maybe that's why she didn't kick out. Pins her for the win. Obviously, the crowd are shocked. Thea Hale looks legitimately shocked. The referees, he's kind of like confusingly ringing the bell. Oh, I need to ring the bell now. I've counted to 3. Blake Monroe's music then hits, which makes you think maybe she was meant to win and they had her music stored up next for when she was eventually going to win. Nonetheless, Thea Hale wins. Look, I thought that was a botch ending, to be fair. And if it wasn't, then that's an incredibly staged botch. But look, I don't mind Thea Hale being champion at all. But yeah, that was the first match of the night. We get a little backstage scene of the culling. Basically, Tatum Paxley is not done. She is still seeking revenge. And Izzy Dame's not having any of it. Because there's some doll that was left behind by Tatum, allegedly. So yeah, she's still trying to get her revenge. She's still kind of haunting the culling. And then next we saw Ethan Page having a promo. Now I'm a big fan of Ethan Page. He's one of my favourites on NXT. However, I did not like this. He talked about John Cena saying a co-worker quit their job on Saturday. He was not a co-worker, right? Okay, he was in the later runs, but he did not quit his job. Come off. What are you talking about? Quit his job. Come off it, right? He then goes on to say how he was attacked last week or the week. He said he was attacked. And what was it for? Was it through jealousy? Is it because that he's the new foundation of NXT? Or is it the fact that he's such a champion? He was attacked and he feels like it was fueled by jealousy. He then calls out Tony D'Angelo, but yet Stax comes out, has a little bit of an awkward moment opening the ropes for his girlfriend. He opens the 2 top ropes for her to go through. She wanted to go through the lower set of ropes, so then she was knocked her head on the middle rope and then was like, oh, let me go through the other ones instead. That was a bit cringe. All right, though. And then he brags about how he's the international champion, but he's also looking for the mixed tag belts off of Chelsea Green and Ethan Page. And then Moose's music hits. Moose comes down and he says how the boys at TNA are pissed. You've got one of the TNA belts at NXT, so he's going to do something about it. And he wants to take Ethan Page's belt to TNA. Brilliant. Moose versus Ethan Page for the NXT North American Championship. Ethan Page says he's the new foundation of NXT. Moose wants to take some gold from NXT and take it back to TNA, seeing as TNA have one of their belts over on NXT. So now, December 30th, NXT End of Year Awards. Ethan Page will defend his championship against Moose. Next, we see Leon Slater and Javon Evans outside. Leon Slater's telling him, come on, man, come ringside. I need you ringside because it's a fatal 4-way match in the main event that Leon Slater was a part of. He goes, come ringside. Stop waiting out here, man. I need your support. I want you out there supporting me ringside. Took some convincing, but Javon Evans eventually obliges and comes back inside. We then see Hank and Tank versus OTM. Now, I wasn't very familiar with OTM, but OTM, by the way, stands for Out the Mud. OTM are quite cool. They're quite gangster. They're a bit thugs. I think I have that in my notes as well. They're a bit thuggish. I quite like it. Hank and Tank had some good synergy, I thought, as well in this match. Really good tag teamwork action. What does that say? Oh, and then we see a little cutscene of someone pulling up in a Chevrolet during the match. But yeah, I say in the notes, OTM are boisterous, they're roaring, they're taunting, they're a bit like animals, to be fair. But I like it. They were rabid, they were rugged. They were really aggressive in there, quite thuggish. But it was something new, and I quite liked it. They remind me a bit of what's that tag team? I probably shouldn't talk about it because there's quite a tragic story about them. But if you know that tag team, back in like the late 2000s, unfortunately, something horrible happened to one of the team members. But they remind me a bit of those, to be fair, kind of thuggish gangsters, kind of. And then yeah, throughout the match, they bludgeoned Tank. Right, they were just slapping him, punching him, kicking him. They're just mean offense, mean offense. Not the usual wrestling offense you see, just mean battering offense. Then we get a hot tag to Tank. He has a comeback, whoops everyone in the ring, and there's a suicide dive to the outside. A double Samoan drop, however, Tank kicks out. So the OTM do a double Samoan drop on Tank, but he kicks out, and eventually, I've made too many notes here. And then basically Hank and Tank are about to finish it. OTM stop the finish. They look for the finish themselves. However, Hank and Tank get the roll for the win. Too many notes there, but it was actually a pretty fun match and Hank and Tank, but also OTM got some good TV time to get a good match in and to be, have some television time. And I thought it was pretty good. I'm quite digging, if I'm allowed to say that, I'm quite digging OTM. I quite like them. They're thuggish, kind of gangster, boisterous. I like it. Who was in the SUV during the match? Ricky Saints. Ricky Saints gets out of the SUV. Ricky Saints is in the building. We then see Jasper Troy talk to Ava, talking about the new speed tournament coming up. And Troy said it's bad for them as they'll lose to me. I think the speed championship looks a bit goofy, to be honest. Do I like it? I can't really say because I haven't watched too much of it. But look, maybe this tournament will turn me around. Ricky Saints promo. He's got security all around the ring, just in case Javon Evans comes to attack him. And basically he says, he by the way, this whole time he's speaking over the loudest of boos. Doesn't give them any time to get a word in though. He's just speaking over them as if they're silent. He says, Ricky Saints is the guy who can carry any brand. He needs to be obsessed with being number one. And he had to check Javon for jumping the line because he's not the man around here. He says that you're young. I waited for my time. You're young and you can wait. And he's a class way below Ricky Saints is Javon Evans. Ain't no one more debonair. I like this bit. He says, ain't no one more debonair or suave than Ricky Saints. Holy. Who let this guy have a mic? No one's more debonair or suave. Two of my favourite words, by the way. Debonair and suave. And he's not lying. Right, whether you hate Ricky Saints for the heel turn he's having, turned on Javon Evans, he has got some debonair and suave. He is, again, really, really entertaining to watch. His entrance is one of the best in NXT, probably pro wrestling right now. I love that bit to end it. He is debonair and suave. But then, Javon Evans attacks Ricky Saints. He runs, you got the hard camera, and then out from the bottom right comes Javon Evans attacking Ricky Saints. But however, Ricky Saints regains himself, puts a beating on Javon Evans, and gives a Rochambeau through the table, laying out Javon Evans out cold. Don't mess with Ricky Saints because honestly, he'll make you regret it. Oh my lordy lord, I made too many. I need to cut down these notes, man. Ethan Page, Chelsea Green and Ava. Ethan's basically not happy with the way Chelsea Green's managing NXT. He says there's a moose on the loose. Don't make it hard for me to love you, mate. Anyway, what ends up happening is Chelsea Green gets put against Sol Ruka for the United States Championship, and it will be Ethan Page versus Moose in 2 weeks. Two matches I'm pretty excited for. Sol Ruka's got a lot of momentum behind her, and as I said, I'm a big fan of Ricky Saints, so any match that he's in, I love. But Ethan Page. Ethan Page versus Moose in 2 weeks. Chelsea Green will defend her United States Championship against Sol Ruka next week. We then get Fatal Influence. Fallon Henley and Lainey Reed versus Ren Sinclair and Kendall Gray. And, Kendall Gray has got a lot of, again, she's got quite a lot of momentum, quite a lot of, she's getting a bit over with the fans, and the fans really like her. She's the Evolve champion. And to be fair, she kind of deserves it, because I'm watching this girl in this ring, and she is really smooth. She's really easy to watch. No botches, her footing's great, her bumps are brilliant. She was really smooth to watch, really easy to watch. Everything just, she just did everything perfectly. JC Jane eventually gets up on the apron. Kendall hits her off, and Ren Sinclair then jumps on JC Jane to get her out of the equation. And Gray gets the win. Kendall Gray gets the win with an armbar. To be fair, decent match, pretty good match, and a great win for Kendall Gray. Just again, building her star power, getting her on NXT TV. She's doing a great job, to be fair. It's always great when there's someone who is getting a push and is getting quite over with the fans. And they are actually really, really good in ring. Not just are they great on the mic, but they're really, really good in ring. And I think Kendall Gray is actually pretty good. We then see a Thea Hale interview. And this girl was absolutely mental. She was breathing heavy. She was deranged. She was crazy. She was saying, "Oh, I've done it. I've done it. I've been crying so much over the past 25 minutes, but I've done it." Blake Monroe comes into the shot, and she's like, "Who is that ref? That ref needs to be fired, and I want my rematch." And she was holding back tears. Blake Monroe was holding back tears, absolutely distraught. It's like the championship was her life. Now it's been taken away from her. Her life's ruined. So she's really sad. We then see backstage as well, Izzy Dame and Lola Vice. Basically Lola Vice is telling her there's one down in the culling, one to go. And Lola Vice, I think Lola Vice is just giving her some good information. Izzy Dame's not taking it very well. And she's just telling her, look, Tatum Pax is coming for you, bro. You need to watch your back. Dame really thinks nothing of it. Then we see Lola Vice talking to Kalani Jordan. So Lola Vice is just stirring up the pot backstage with the women's locker room for some reason. And Kalani Jordan, however, she starts talking smack about Lola Vice, how she hasn't been champion. And then Lola Vice claps back, and I like this clap back, to be fair, as an MMA fan. She says gymnastics is nothing compared to MMA. Damn straight, gymnastics is nothing compared to MMA. You can do all your flippy stuff that you want, but when the fists and elbows start flying, you've got nothing. Unbiased, I don't care who'd win that match. Let's go Lola Vice. And then, we get announced Lola Vice versus Izzy Dame next week, and the Speed Tournament also starts next week on Tuesday on NXT. Then, time for the main event. Finally, we're here at the main event. Jesus Christ. Time for the main event. Evan Bourne versus Joe Henry versus Leon Slater versus Dion Lennox. And it looks like Leon Slater actually legit hurt himself, because he jumped out from the ring onto the floor, kind of tweaked his knee a bit, started limping, and I thought, Jesus, this guy's fully hurt his knee there. However, he surely wouldn't have, because Dion started wrapping it around the ring ropes, how he grabbed the knee and started slamming it against the ring posts. So I thought, okay, well, if his knee was legitimately injured, they obviously wouldn't do that. So he should be fine. There was a good spot. There was a 4-man superplex. And then this guy, Leon Slater, he's the real deal, right? He's getting up top for what I thought was going to be the 450, the Swanton 450. I think it was Dion. Yeah, Dion Lennox. He's going to do what looks like the Swanton 450. Dion Lennox starts rolling away. It's like, oh, okay, fine. He's rolled away. He's smart. He's rolled away. Leon Slater's got this devilish look in his eyes. From halfway across the ring, does a Swanton bomb. But, mate, you're 21. Chill out. Don't hurt yourself too soon. Executes it perfectly. Later on in the match, Dion Lennox and Joe Henry start brawling, and they end up going backstage. Swanton 450, Leon Slater gets the win on one leg. So it'll now be Leon Slater versus Obafemi for the NXT Championship. Obafemi comes out, his music hits, one of the best wrestling songs right now. Flexes the belt, showing I'm the champion. If you want some, come get some. But in the rafters, in the stands, lurking like the pigeon lady, the lights down on him, Tony D'Angelo just watching him like a hawk. So we're going to have Leon Slater versus Obafemi next, but by the looks of it, Tony D'Angelo wants some gold as well. So Obafemi better watch his back for that. He better watch his back because we've got Leon Slater coming in soon. Better watch his back for Tony D'Angelo. Right, let's wrap this up because my phone will run out of storage. Now, and then also, there's more stuff. Dynamite was in Manchester. Probably already happened. I need to fill myself in on that. But Dynamite, it's the Christmas bash, so Dynamite and Collision together in Manchester happened this evening. Would have anyway. And then some little things I saw as well. I got this from Wrestling Inc. And it was basically, because I'm sure a lot of people would have been wondering why Randy Orton wasn't at the John Cena's final match. I was definitely really confused. As probably John Cena's number one rival, why would he not be at John Cena's final match? Unfortunately, he had to promote Riyadh Season and the Royal Rumble. That's no dig at Riyadh Season, that's no dig at the Royal Rumble, but we would have rather seen Randy Orton be at John Cena's final match and then promote the Royal Rumble and Riyadh Season next week. But that's why Randy Orton wasn't there for John Cena's final match. And then on an episode of The Extreme Life of Matt Hardy is basically saying how once he's done with wrestling, he wants to be put in a position of booking or helping out with the booking. He believes he knows how to make stars. and ultimately he sees himself in a creative or production position. So Matt Hardy, once he's retired, he wants to be backstage helping out with the talent, helping out with the production. Is that 40 minutes? Jesus. And then, yeah, Randy Orton didn't want to be there because he didn't want to be there. He was promoting Riyadh season in the Royal Rumble. Now, what is to come? Tomorrow, well, probably today, it's probably hit midnight. Tomorrow, Thursday the 18th, I think. Yeah, Thursday 18th. In darts, what's coming up? In darts, Thursday 18th. Some notable matches. Ryan Joyce will go against Owen Bates. Mike Dudek will go against Munyua. And then in the evening, we will see Jermaine Watamena versus Grulich. Dave Chisnell versus Fallon Sherrick. Michael Van Gerwen versus Tatsunami. And Christoph Ratajski versus Alexis Toilo. Now you might think, why is Christoph Ratajski versus Alexis Toilo one of the notable matches? Well, because of how Alexis Toilo throws. This guy throws. Honestly, the average dart player throws 9 darts in the time span it takes them to throw 3. It's pretty agonising to watch, but look, it's got him to the World Championships, so fair play to him. Also, tomorrow night, Thursday, will be TNA, and just in case you missed it, if you live under a rock, we obviously have Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua on Friday, but we also have Misfits, Andrew Tate versus Chase Demore on Saturday. It's in Dubai, so people in the UK, it's on at a reasonable time. A lot of hype around that fight, and I'm sure a lot of people will be watching it. But that was a lot of news. Jesus Christ. But yeah, that was episode 2. Again, I didn't expect to have one so early, but look, why limit myself to a Friday? What's the logic in Friday to Monday when there's news all the time to share, to talk about? So yeah, that was episode 2 of the Tendo Show. I'm your host, Tendo, and I'll see you again for the next episode, whatever it may be, because whatever news there is, look, I'm going to be on it like a hawk. I'm going to be on it like a hawk. So yeah, I'll see you later.